Your team's norms don't work, not because the ideas are wrong, because they were never designed to do the one thing your team actually needs: make it possible to tell each other the truth. You've probably seen these norms. They're on a poster in the back of the conference room or in a shared Google Doc that nobody opens. Be respectful. Start and end on time. Listen actively. Someone tweaked the wording on one of them and then they got posted on the wall and never touched again. Today, we're replacing that with something that actually works. This is phase 2 of Hard Conversations, Better Teams. Phase 1 was about understanding the problem, the system that built the silence, and the language that reinforces it. Phase 2 is about building something different, and we start with the foundation, the single team agreement that changes every conversation that comes after it. If you're just joining the series, your team's silence isn't about weak people. It's about a system that trained educators to be agreeable and never build conditions for honesty. That's what we've been unpacking, and now we build. Part 1, Why Your Current Norms Don't Work. Roland Barthes named the most important distinction in team culture decades ago, and it's still the one most teams get wrong. He called it the difference between congeniality and collegiality. Congeniality is about being pleasant, keeping the peace. A congenial culture looks healthy from the outside. Meetings run smoothly, nobody's visibly upset, people are polite, but honest dialogue just doesn't happen. Collegiality, on the other hand, is different. It's the willingness to say, I don't think that's the right direction, and have it received as a contribution, not a threat. It's a culture where productive disagreement is expected and welcomed. Here's the problem. Most team norms are written to protect congeniality. Be respectful. Value everyone's contribution. Assume positive intent. Trust me, I know all about these norms. I've supported teams using these norms. They aren't bad ideas, but they don't necessarily give your team permission to be honest. In fact, they can actively prevent it. I don't think that was very respectful. Is the fastest way to shut down a hard conversation in a team meeting. The norm your team needs is different, and it requires a different kind of process to build. Part 2, what a collegial agreement actually looks like. A team agreement needs to do one thing: make it safe to say something uncomfortable. Not safe in the abstract, specifically, visibly, operationally safe, the kind of safe where a teacher can say, I'm not sure our data is actually telling us what we think it's telling us, and the team treats that as a gift, not a problem. And that's what Amy Edmondson's psychological safety research actually describes, not comfort, but the safety to take interpersonal risks. Here's the agreement I've seen do that work more consistently than any other. We agree that honest dialogue is more valuable to this team than comfortable silence. It sounds simple, but it isn't. When your team agrees to this, I mean really agrees, through a process where they understand what they're signing up for, it gives someone language to invoke when the team goes silent. A team member can say, I want to honor our agreement. I have something I want to name, and I'm not sure how it's going to land. Can I trust that we're here in honest dialogue mode right now? That's not just a norm. It's a permission structure. It tells every person in the room, you have a standing to say the hard thing. And staying silent is actually the thing that violates our commitment. That's a fundamentally different kind of norm. Part 3, how to build it. You can't just announce this agreement and put it on a slide. That's just more wallpaper. The agreement has to be built, and the process is what makes it real. Here's the process I use. It takes about 30 minutes or so. Step 1, name the gap. You could ask your team, think about a time you left a meeting and something important wasn't said. What made that so hard to say? Don't correct or redirect, just collect information. What you'll hear is a map of real barriers, and your willingness to ask tells your team, I know there may be something I'm not seeing here. That honesty creates space for honesty from them. And step 2, introduce the distinction. Once you've named the gap, bring Barth's congeniality collegiality framework, not as a lecture, but as a question. You could say, I'm going to describe 2 kinds of teams. You tell me which one we are. Then walk through both of them. Most teams will see themselves in congeniality, and that recognition is the point. And then step 3, build the agreement collaboratively. So you might ask, what would it need to feel like in this room for each of us to say the hard thing? Collect answers and then reflect back. What you're describing is a team that values honest dialogue over comfortable silence. Can we make that an explicit commitment? Let them word it. The final version may not be much different from yours, but it will carry the power of ownership. And then step 4, define it behaviorally. This is the step most teams skip, and it's why agreements sometimes die. You could ask, what does honoring this look like? And what does not honoring it look like? Write them both down, post both anonymously. Honoring the agreement. Saying, I'm not sure I agree, instead of just nodding along. Naming the concern you normally would say for the hallway. Not honoring the agreement. Staying silent when you have a perspective. Agreeing publicly and then complaining privately. Now your team has a norm with teeth. Before your next team meeting, look at your current norms. Find the one that sounds most like value and least like behavior. Be respectful. Value everyone's voice. Ask for one question. Does the norm make it easier or harder for someone to say something uncomfortable? If the answer is harder, that's the gap you're trying to fill. You don't have to run the full 30-minute process tomorrow. Start smaller and start by watching, not asking. So in your next meeting, notice the one moment something true didn't get said. Who almost spoke but didn't? What got smoothed over? The point everyone agreed to a little too quickly. So don't try to fix it. Don't name it in the room. Just see it. Because here's the thing. You can't build the agreement until you can see the silence. And most leaders have just actually never looked for it. We're so busy running the meeting that the moment passes and we just miss it. So this week, just look. Find the silence. Then bring what you saw into the agreement building process. Because you're not building it from a framework. You're building it from something real that happened in your own room. You now have the agreement, the framework, and the process to build it. But here's what I keep saying. Even with the agreement in place, most teams still can't look honestly at their data. They explain it, they defend it, they contextualize it, anything but confront it. That's video 5. The conversation teams are least prepared for isn't about a conflict between people. It's about facing what the numbers are actually telling you. And I have a specific protocol that changes that conversation. Before you go, if you want a free tool to start work on your own, I have the Team Agreement Builder linked in the description. It's the fillable template version of exactly what we walked through today. So hit subscribe so you don't miss video 5. Hey, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.